and Coach Harbaugh kind enough to join us on the set. So I haven't heard anything about this. Did you get any traveling in at all this summer?
Yes. Yes.
How did that go?
Good. All good.
All right, good.
Great summer.
Any good restaurants you want to recommend?
No, we weren't eating in a lot of restaurants. No,
Working.
We were eating a lot of good food though. A lot of what do you call it? Potluck when. Yeah, the coaches would bring
football guys.
Yeah, they'd bring their wives or family would bring food over, and we'd eat after the camps, etc.
Nice.
So yeah, we got a lot of great variety and good food. No, didn't get any restaurant food though.
Biggest difference year two versus year one, where you were when you were sitting here last year versus where you are now in terms of getting the program to where you want it to be?
The biggest difference between year one and year two, as it always is, year one is the unknown, uncharted waters. Year two is everything you did, now you're doing again. You're doing for a second time, and you know everybody better. You know the players better. You know your staff better. Everybody that's in your program. Most everybody's doing it for the second time.
Coach, dominant tailback. It's been a while since Michigan's had one guy the defense has to stop. Is that still important in nowadays football?
Yeah, that's a good thing to have. That's a great thing to have, and I think Davion Smith has a chance to be that type of a tailback because he can do multiple things. He can run between the tackles. He can run outside. He can pass protect. And he's got a chance to be a really good pass protector. He's also coming along with his hands and catching the ball and route running. That's something that can be improved. It's it's a wonderful position. It's a wonderful position to coach. The running backs also.
Thank you, Coach.
He was the fullback coach.
Running back what difference does it make? You're behind the quarterback.
Any chance I get to give you a shot, I try to do it.
I was gonna make the point that that with the running back position, no matter how you do, there's you go back and look at it. There's always something that you can find that you could do a little better, whether it's your pass protection or route running or your vision, your balance. But I guess that's true for just about every position in football. And Davion is he's an ascending player. He's an improving player. Also, I think Ty Isaac has a chance, to be a very good back. And we've got some very good young backs that are coming in as freshmen. It'll be exciting to watch.
Coach Brown on the defensive side is going to be a defensive coordinator. I mean, he's an exciting style, exciting brand, the way he calls the game.
Yeah.
How are those offense and defensive meetings as a coaching staff going against one another?
Well, it's been extremely challenging. You could say, I didn't light up. When somebody says Don Brown, somebody just says Don or Donnie.
The Don.
I light up. I get a big smile. For not knowing Don until December. January, and now having worked with him since then, I mean, we're becoming best friends. I hope he feels the same way. But I love Don Brown as a teacher, as a developer of players, and as a person at the highest level. And then everywhere I go, I mean, if we are going somewhere, people don't hesitate to come up and say, how's Don doing? How's Coach Brown? He coached me when I was at UMass. He coached me at Yale. He coached me at BC. He's the greatest. He's the best. And when your former players or other coaches who've worked with Don, go out of their way to come up and tell you that, that's it's a wonderful, wonderful thing because players don't do that.
Yeah.
Howard, they don't. If
it's not real.
If it's not real, they're not going to say it.
You'd rather say nothing.
Right.
Yeah. That's the you'll get the the stare. But when they go out of their way and tell you stories about what he did for them and how he's kept in touch with them and how he developed them as a person and as a player. I mean, I can honestly say I don't know that I've been around a coach other than my dad, Jack Harbaugh, who I've had as many people come up and say how positively Don Brown affected their lives. So I get a big smile when I hear the name Don Brown.
The last couple of years, the three of us, well, maybe not necessarily Rever, he doesn't know much about the offensive line, but the two of us anyway have been really impressed with the talent in the offensive line. How are those guys coming along?
I'm more a defensive
He's
line
more of a
specialist,
defense.
Coach.
Talk about those guys like you talked about the running back position. How are those guys coming?
They're coming along good. You know, they're very talented guys, as you said. They played a lot of football, and Tim Drevno, who's our offensive coordinator and our offensive line coach, is at the highest level when it comes to training offensive linemen and player development and coaching. And the guys we got on the offensive line have really understood that if they want to be good, they got to work. You know, they got to work, and it's got to be the details. It's got to be the specifics, hand placement, landmarks, steps, and they've really embraced it. They've embraced the coaching, and there's always something that you can do better. There's always a better placement. You know, the angle of your back, and low pads. Low man is going to win. But Coach Drevno has brought a kind of an AP. You know, if we were in school talking class, I mean, this is AP football and an offensive play.
DiNardo.
I thought it was the Associated
Yeah.
Press.
Yeah,
Thanks for
Howard took some
clearing
AP
that up.
classes, but and so now they're combining that talent with the real meticulous study of the game, and we don't have a lot of offensive linemen. You know, we're very small on numbers, but we got good players, and they're going to graduate. So I mean, we could take 7 offensive linemen in this next class and still not have the numbers that we need. But the guys we got, they're the kind of guys you want. They're blue collar, you know, smart guys that are, you know, they're book smart and they're football smart, you know, which you need so you don't get a quarterback or running back killed. And they're talented guys that are going to play at the next level. I truly believe that.
Speaking of the quarterbacks, do you have a timetable of when you want to announce who your starter, or you're just going to allow it to play out?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're going to throw the balls out on August 8th. Here are the balls. Now you guys have at it and compete. Fresh slate, because quarterbacks can improve over the 4 months between spring practice and the start of training camp. But we're looking for a guy that consistently can move the team, who moves the team the most and gets us in the end zone. So it's going to take practice reps. It's going to take scrimmage reps, team reps to find the guy that consistently moves the team without turning the ball over and making the big blunder. You know, so if the guy can, every time he steps on the field, 15 of the times we drive for a touchdown and 2 or 3 he throws an interception. Okay, that's pretty darn good percentage. So it's going to take some time to sort that out. The good news is we got guys that are hungry for the position. I'll tell you a funny story. I just like to watch it unfold, and it's unfolding just how you like it to as a coach. I mean, they're competing for it over the summer. We got Wilton Spate and John O'Corn. They try to get the receivers to throw with them. Yeah, hey, can you throw with me at 2 o'clock, or don't tell Wilton that we're throwing at 2 o'clock. And then Wilton's doing the same thing. Hey, can you come at 7? I need to get Jake and Amara and J.U. and Grant to come over at 7, and don't tell John. But one of the problems is one of the receivers lives with John, so he told John, and John shows up at Wilton's secret throwing sessions, and Wilton shows up at John's.
And you would never have done that, right?
I love it. Oh, you're darn right.
Playing, you never would have done.
It's just what I would have done. It's just what I would have done. It's heartwarming.
It's funny, though, when you sat here last year, one of the big things you talked about was competition and getting competition going within the team. And to me, that speaks to that. And how did you get from the point where you were at to where now you feel like everyone is competing on every rep and everything they do?
Well, it's just you remember it as a player. I mean, and I remember as a player that, it's like I hate to make the analogy between a person and an animal, but in this case I will, because when I watch the horses come out for the Kentucky Derby, the bugler call, they come out and the horses take the track. You see their eyes bulge. They begin to get a lather on them. The jockeys tell stories of, being able to feel the heart, pounding of the horse when they hear that bugler's call, because they know they got to go race. They know they got to go compete. And I remember that as a player. My eyes bulging, the hair on the back of my neck standing up, my heart going like that, the sweat and the lather starting to break out. And, as a coach, you want to provide that to these guys. We want to put them in as many competitive situations so they can feel the joy and the thrill of competition. And, you get the right guys, the right motivated guys, because it's impossible to motivate the unmotivated. But as soon as you identify the guys that really like it and embrace it, then you have something. And you put those guys out on the field.
And most people seem to agree that those guys you're going to put out on the field this year have a chance to compete to win the Big Ten championship. There's a lot of hype around this team. As a head coach, are you one who embraces that? Do you discuss it? How do you handle the fact that all of a sudden there are massive expectations on Michigan football?
Yeah, I just give them the message how I think of it. And how I think of it is, dream big. Dream so big, set your goals so high that people laugh at you. And if they're not laughing at you and making fun of you for what you're dreaming and what your aspirations are, then you haven't set your goals high enough. But you also have to understand you can have anything you want, but you got to work for it. Once the work has been realized, then you can achieve those goals and those dreams and those ambitions. So we'll have high expectations. And the biggest expectation, the highest expectation that we'll have is we want to be better on August 8th than we were on August 7th. We want to be better on August 9th than we were on August 8th. We want to be better today than we were yesterday, better tomorrow than we were today. And that's a huge expectation. That's the one we're going to chase and go after.
You hadn't been in the league in a long time, and really since you were a player. What did you think of the Big Ten your first time through?
Very impressed with the talent level. The players, I consider the NFL players to be the greatest athletes in the world, and I truly see that Big Ten players have the license and the ability to be those kind of athletes. The coaching is outstanding. The competition is outstanding on all levels. I find it to be very high. And I would say one other thing. Jabril Peppers is that kind of athlete who has a chance to be one of the top athletes in the world and in football and what he does. He also has the motivation. He also has the fire, to be a great player and a great man too. He's got that passion. He's seen the hatred. He's seen people try to put him down, but he doesn't let it get him down. He uses it as motivation. I think it can all explode for him if he puts in the work. You got to put in the work to realize those dreams. But he's right on track.
Because it's going to be fun to watch what Coach Brown is able to do with a player like Peppers moving around.
Well, how about that? I mean, you got a guy that could cover as good as anybody in the country. Maybe not as good as Jordan Lewis, because Jordan Lewis is. He is premier in terms of coverage ability. But, go to the safety position, and he can cover as good as anybody in the country. The nickel position probably is his best position. Probably what he'll play as a pro football player because he's tough, he can tackle. But then you can use him at linebacker, too, because he can rush. I'm thrilled because Don is going to use him as a pass rusher at times and drop him at times, and the opponent won't know what he's really going to be doing. And then if you put him on offense, he'd probably be our best slot receiver. He would give anybody on our team a run for their money to be the best tailback on the team. Wildcat quarterback, he'd be the best at it on our football team. He could be an outside receiver. He's a punt returner at the highest level. He's a kick returner at the highest level. He could be a gunner at the highest level. He could be a hold-up guy at the highest level.
Can he coach yet, Coach?
I love him. And I love. And a competitor at the highest level. This is a guy that when he goes out to practice, the hairs on the back of his neck are standing up, and he's also got this real fire in his gut too. I can't say enough good things about him, but that's work to be done. But man, he is right on track to explode to be one of the top guys there is.
Head coach of the Wolverines, Jim Harbaugh, thanks in particular for shedding some insight for Gerry on offensive line play. And I'll explain landmarks to him and back angle and all that.
So this is 10 years I've been putting up with this.
I'll make sure he understands.
What are you talking about? Jerry's one of the all-time greats.
By the time he gets Ann Arbor,
downhill,
he'll know what you were
come off
talking
the ball,
about.
rattle somebody's feelings, put a fullback
Only
in the.
has 5 down.
Stick around for a couple more
You
seconds.
should keep Harbaugh on the payroll.
Tight end, a fullback, rattle some Phillies, run between the tackles.
I hear
That's
you.
Gerry DiNardo.
I hear you.
Thanks a lot, Coach. We're going to talk with the Rutgers